Hey there, it's Laura here from makingcardsisdone.com, and today I'm here with a card for the Winnie and Walter block featuring some of their goodies from the July 2017 release, along with the Sketchy Thoughts stamp sets from a previous release. So first I'm using the Big Balloons die-cut set from Winnie and Walter, and I will be using this to create a sequin shaker card. So now I'm going to show you a little tip on how to position that balloon and how to use it as a stencil. So I am lining up my negative balloon with my watercolor cardstock, and then I put a tiny little bit of ATG onto that balloon, and then I'm just kind of removing any of that very sticky glue because I want to make sure that my paper doesn't tear. And then I just adhered that in that frame. So I use that as a little stencil, and then I removed the negative piece, and now I'm left with the balloon that I can now use as a stencil to do some watercoloring. So first I added some water, and then I'm using Tumbled glass distress ink to add the blue, and then for the grass I am using Shabby shutters, and I'm also going to mix some peacock feathers for a darker shade of blue to add some shading. So here you can see me using this balloon as a stencil because at first I was going to adhere that frame onto my cards actually, but then I decided to do something else. So in the end you will be seeing me switching up things a lot, but I still wanted to show you how I did that just because maybe you want to do this technique like I did here. So after heat setting that, I'm just going back in with some more blue to add a little bit more dimension to this watercolor piece. And then as soon as I finished doing that, it was time to stamp this adorable bunny from the Happy Dance with Evelin T Designs stamp set from Winnie and Walter. And I am stamping that onto some Canson watercolor paper using Archival jet black ink. And then I'll be coloring this image with the Zig Clean Color Wheel Brush markers. So for the leaves of this flower, I am using light green. So this color is called light green. So I just apply some color to my paper and then I blend that out with a water brush. I'm using the Pentel Aquash brush in the medium tip, but you can also use a regular paintbrush. Then I go back in with that marker just to add a little bit extra shading here and there. And then I'll be going back in with my water brush just to blend that out. And as you can see, I'm not moving my brush all the way to the top of that flower. I stop kind of in the middle of that leaf because otherwise you won't get a lot of shading. So here I will be showing this again. So first I apply my marker or my color. This one is called Carmine Red, and then I am blending that out with my Pentel Aquash brush, and then I stopped in the middle and then I picked back up from the middle of that or the center of that flower, and then I'm blending upwards. So it's just a technique that works really well for me. So here you can see it again with this pink flower. Here I am using the color called Peach Pink. So I'm just adding some color with my marker and then I'm blending that out with my water brush. And then sometimes I like to go back in with my marker just to add a little bit more color. So here you can see me doing that. And then as soon as I did that, I'm just going to use my water brush again to blend it out a little bit more. Then I'm going to color some yellow flowers. I am using a lemon yellow for that. This is just a really pretty color. And I just wanted to mention again that these markers are just so easy to color with. They're very forgiving, and I actually prefer them over Copic markers just because they're easier to blend and you don't need a lot of colors. Then for this very last flower, I am using the color called Bright Yellow, which is this beautiful tone of dark yellow, kind of, to me it looks like an orange, but it's called bright yellow, so yeah, technically it's a yellow. Okay, so then it's time to color this bunny. I'm using light gray for that, so I'm just doing the same technique, adding color with my marker, blending it out with my water brush, going back in with the marker, and then blending it out again. Then I'm also going to add some rosy cheeks to this bunny. I just scribbled my marker onto my paper. I am using the color Pink Flamingo for that. And then I pick that up with my water brush to make sure that color is really light, since I don't want like these really dark red cheeks. So I really want a blended look. And then after I finished coloring, it's time to die cut this image using the coordinating dies. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I ended up doing something totally different. So I die cut my balloon again out of some Celadon cardstock from Pure Arts. But as you can see, now it doesn't really match anymore since I'm not using that other frame no longer. So I have to perform some card making surgery. So I am going back in with my watercolors just to make that area a little bit larger so it fits the larger balloon. So I'm going back in with Shabby shutters, and then I'm using some more tumbled glass. So I'm not really, doing a lot of different techniques. I'm just adding the distress ink with some water to this cardstock, and here you can see that it now lines up perfectly. But the reason I didn't cut that technique out in the beginning is because I just want to show you in case you do want to use that other frame. Okay, so now it's time to create my sequin shaker. This time I'm going for another traditional shaker, so I'm using acetate and some foam. You can also create a sequin shaker with the fuse tool. I like that as well, but I just love how the sequins are able to move a lot when you use foam. So I like to use Tumbled Mono multi-glue to adhere my foam adhesive. Well, no, it's not foam adhesive, it's actually fun foam. But you can also use foam adhesive. But the downside of that is that the edges are sticky, so your sequins tend to stick to those edges. And that's why I would like to share this following tip with you. I am adhering my bunny with a piece of fun foam, and the reason why I'm not using a self-adhesive foam square for this is because the sequins will stick to the edge of that foam adhesive, and you don't want that, so that's why I'm using foam sheets. Now if you're going to be using self-adhesive foam, then I recommend using some kitchen flour or like a Martha Stewart powder tool to remove that stickiness on the edges of your foam adhesive. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so now it's time to move on because I could talk for hours about sequin shakers. I stamped a sentiment from the Sketchy Thoughts stamp set from Winnie and Walter with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink onto some white cardstock, and I'll be using that to create a sentiment banner. But first it's time to adhere this balloon piece to my cards using Tumbled Mono multi-glue, and I'm just pressing that down really lightly, making sure that it doesn't move or that the glue doesn't smear or smudge. And then I am adhering my sentiment banner with some foam adhesive. And then finally I am finishing off this card with some sequins here and there, and I'm adhering these with glossy accents and my EK Success tweezers. And that finishes up my card in this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!